Welcome to the final live show for the Broken Earth Readalong. It's been a journey. We're sad to see the end of it, but here we are. I'm Chloe Thistle-Verse. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Daedra of Shade Tree Reads and Sophia Fantasy Book Addict. I have included both of their YouTube links in the description box, and you should check them out because their videos are great. Sophia reads a lot of adult fantasy, and Daedra is reads pretty widely, and one of her projects that she's part of is Now That's What I Call Black Love, which is a romance YouTube channel that she co-hosts with Ashley of Bookish Realm, where they talk about Black love romance and the history in publishing, and also like highlighting indie reads or like historically monumental reads. Is there anything I missed for either of you? Is there anything anyone wanted to add?
No, that was it. I'm sorry. They're weed eating or something, so I'm gonna keep muting myself.
Okay. Hi, Shamla. Thanks for joining. Shamla's in the comments, and I'm trying to remember if I had a little introduction question for today. I usually try to have one. Introduction question. Oh, what use cast would you be if you lived in the world of the stillness? I can give a quick list of the ones I remember.
Yeah.
There's breeders, which I'm sure no one will pick. Florists. What is it? The teachers. No. Yeah. Strongbacks. Resistance. And what was the other one?
Leadership.
I'm not so pressed about being a lorist because I like history, and they basically are the, if I'm remembering correctly, they're like the historians of, of the still or the stillness. And so I would probably try to be in the background and the fly on the wall, just like writing down the tea. That would be mine.
Yeah, same. I'm not strong enough to be a strong back. I feel like if I were leadership, I would doom everybody in my comm. So like for me, Loris would be like the safest option.
Shamla says a lorist too. Got a lot of lorists in live, I guess. What would I think I would be? I think I might be a resistant. I think that they do kind of like hazmat type stuff, like so they don't get sick as easily. I don't know. That's like not a great job, I guess, but like I want to be strong back because they get thrown out when things go bad. So I think I might go with resistant. So that was the questions. Shamla agrees with you, Daedra.
I forgot to log in, so I can't comment. My bad.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So I usually also like to start off with a recap, and I put a lot of work into this recap because I tried to do the one for the 5th season on the fly, and it just was not happening. And I was like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to tease apart these timelines, and we are going to have a recap this time around. So long ago, way back when, there were the Thnees, who are very good at magic. Basically, this intimidates some of the other people in the Empire, and they start making up all these rumors about the Thnees, how they have this like enlarged Sesapine, and like they're not really human. And so they basically killed them all off for the most part, and they created these synthetic humans called tuners, who are based on their stereotypes of Thnees to do magic, basically, for them, and power all their buildings and have space travel and all this stuff. And then the tuners are kind of like managed by these people called the conductors, who have like similar physical traits to the Thnees as well. Like they might have had these ancestor way back when. They might have just somehow looked kind of like the Thnees, but like they're people. They have families and stuff. And then there's the one prototype, Kalenli, who looks human but has the large cessipene of other tuners. And she was created, like, she was like the first tuner who was ever created. But she doesn't really run all the magic stuff day to day. And basically, the tuners make all this magic and stuff, but like when they're not useful anymore, they're thrown into this area called the Briar Patch, where like magic is siphoned away from them, and they're a lot of the Thnees have been thrown there as well, and the Thnees have been turned into the obelisks. The obelisks have a consciousness, and basically the humans plan to use the tuners to siphon magic from the sentient Father Earth. And for the most part, the tuners were kind of going along with their lot in life, but Kalenli kind of alerted them that like there's more to life than what they had, and they decided that they're going to sabotage this mission to siphon magic from Earth. So the humans take them to the moon to like start the process, and the tuners' plan is to. I thought they were just going to like take the system offline and like crash a few of the obelisks into Earth, but basically Earth has magic because it's creating enough for people to siphon off of it, and it uses its magic to. And Earth is also very angry at the humans because of all the digging that they've been doing and all the magic they've been siphoning away. So Earth kills everyone at the station. It turns the tuners into stone eaters and turns all the conductors into guardians. The tuners had controls of most of the obelisks that were already in space, so they stayed in space. Earth got control of like a handful of them, and its plan was, I think, to immediately crash them into Earth and kill everyone. But the tuners delayed it, so the crash happened much later, and that was like the first season that happened. And like in their scuffle over the obelisks, the moon was hurled away. And the tuners were all on the moon, but Kalenli stayed on Earth, and so all the Origines are Kalenli's descendants. So that's the way back. That's the history. Hoa was the main tuner who had like set everything off and had been talking to Father Earth. So that was the way back. And then now in the time of the story, Nassen's plan is that she's going to pull the moon into the Earth and kill everyone, and that's just what she wants to do. And eventually, Shafa's injured and dying, so she changes her plan to turning everyone into stone eaters. She wants to turn him into a stone eater so that he will live forever. And that is her new objective. Essen's plan has kind of stayed the same. She wants to bring the moon back into orbit to end the seasons. And she joins Castrima. If you might remember, Castrima had been wrecked, and they're hiking to Reninus. And she joins them as they hike to Reninus, and then Hoa takes her and some friends to Stronghold, where she's going to try and move the obelisks around. When she gets to Stronghold, Nassen's already there, and Nassen and Essen face off. Nassen asks for Essen's help with Shafa, and Essen kind of hesitates because she obviously doesn't like Shafa, and so Nassen kind of like blows her off and goes off to do her thing with the obelisks. Essen has control of most of the obelisks, but Nassen has like a few of the obelisks, like the same one, kind of like the same way that the Earth did, and so they're like fighting it out for control. Essen realizes that if she keeps fighting, she's going to turn Nassen to stone, so she just kind of drops the obelisks and turns to stone herself. Nassen is horrified at what she's done, so she changes her plans and decides that she's just going to return the moon to Earth and end the seasons. And then it ends with Essen becoming a stone eater and being kind of warned to stay away from Alabaster and like starting this new life with Hoa. Sorry. I'm just seeing some comments. I'm gonna catch up on those. Hey, Regina Renee. Hey, Tammy. Hey, HR Wash. Did I miss anything in the synopsis?
I think you did a good job.
You did a great job.
It was a lot harder than I was thinking.
You did great.
Also, Hoa's been kind of tracking Essen pretty much ever since he freed her from that obelisk. Oh, oops.
Wait, she's been tracking her when?
Sorry. Hoa's been tracking Essen since she freed him from the obelisk. And it's kind of hinted that the reason why he's been like so attached to her is because she reminds him of Kalenli in some ways, because he was really attached to Kalenli while she was alive. Shyama says, I really enjoyed that the Obelisk, since they were sucking the magic from them, that they took on their will and soul as well, which caused them to be alive in a way. That's funny. And then there's people saying I should be a lorist. That's
Well,
that's the past.
That's the tea.
Thanks for joining, Sarah. So I think that was the synopsis. That was everything. What was like the wildest reveal in this book for you? Like, what was the moment where you're like,
you first.
For me, I think the entire third act was just wild when they were like crashing in the moon and then like they rebelled. And the fact that Origins are descendant from Kalenli, like I didn't piece that together in my mind until you just said so right now. Like, that's personally, but like and then like the place where like all the guardians go underneath, and then okay, it's a lot. And then also I really liked that reveal where Father Earth is actually alive, because a lot of the times in books there are like theologies, but it doesn't really pan out. But like the fact that Father Earth is alive and he's just been sucking in everybody's souls for centuries was just wild to me. Okay, I'm done.
No, everything you said, plus finding out more about Hoa, that he's basically the OG. That I was like, oh, that I don't know. I mean, I knew he was important. He was old, but it just was like how deep it went. Was like, wow. The losing Lorna, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, she did that. That happened. I don't know why, because I mean,
you thought Lorna was safe.
I just didn't anticipate anybody dying in that journey, and for whatever, because they traveled that way so many times before, but maybe not in such a big group. So, I guess something had to go wrong, but it just kind of was like, wow, she can't be great. She can't have anything nice. And let me see, is there anything else you didn't already say? Yeah, that whole third act was just like, I was this morning, I left the last 60 pages or so. No, about 75 pages for this morning to read. And I was at the dog park. Well, not even a dog park. I was at a park and there's like a dog area. And I started making this noise and these dogs started coming. I was like, let me go back to my car because I don't think I can be quiet right now. There's too much going on. And yeah, I couldn't. When Nasson sacrificed her, I wasn't expecting that to happen. Like, that whole third act was just wild. I don't know. Yes, that part when she was like looking at her mama's drying tears. I was, what is happening? Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, there's a lot of reveals in this book. And we can kind of get into some of this later, but I think the wildest part is when we actually see Father Earth, like, because I'm always used to also like deities like looking like a person, like they take the form of people to make people comfortable, and Father Earth is just like so far, I think, from like anyone's conception of what a deity would look like, and like why he's angry is like also so different, I think, from what everyone has been saying. So everyone, I think, has been saying the whole time like, oh, it's the moon, and like really the moon was just kind of like a byproduct of his actual, I guess, issue with everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we're gonna go back to Essun, when I tell you, she really can't get anything. Like, she can't have nice things. Like, watching her, literally, like watching
she lost her running sack. It was like,
a good one.
Yeah, and like, cause like she was Demaya in the first book, and then like you saw how her parents treated her like trash, and so when Shafa comes, she's just like, oh, like basically had kind of the same reaction as Nasun, where she was just like, oh, he could be potentially like a new father figure, and so we see this baby girl. She's lost her original family. She's lost her son, her lover, and then she's lost another son, and then for her to lose another daughter, and then she lost Lerna, and then not like, and then she had to sacrifice herself, and like while she was pregnant, and so like she is just losing everything, and I'm just like, I just want her to have a moment of happiness. Like, is that too much to ask for? Oh.
I think we got that in the first one with
that one time she was happy.
That one like it was like 2 months or something before she had to like sacrifice herself, basically. So that was it for her. We gotta remember and look back and hope we took a picture for good times, but she lost her runny sack, so her picture would have been in there. So she just literally can't have nothing nice. Like it's terrible.
Kamala says, I was like, damn, Jemison just isn't giving anything to Essen. I think her flawless reveals Essen being pregnant. Regina Renee says, best line ever was not counting on starvation in middle age for birth control. I was like, already.
Right.
And Shamla says, I guess Essen's in peace now that she's a stone eater.
She's got to live for billions of years until the Earth dies out. That's crazy to me.
I guess. Unless someone
I don't think I could live for billions of years. True.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about the ending, the third act, like the very last chapter, Coda. Because I'm still confused. It's still sort of fresh. I think I finished it at like 7:30. That was Hoa narrating all of that?
Yeah, I think he's been narrating the whole
okay, that whole last chapter, that was okay. I was just making sure. Like I was like, if this is not Hoa, I need to start over from the beginning. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's good.
I just
so we kind of talked about plot points, but like from a character perspective or like the magical elements perspective, did you have like a favorite moment? Like, oh, I really like this bonding moment between these characters, or like, oh, I really liked, this bit of magic we got to see.
In terms of characters, I will say I liked Hoa a lot more because from the moment we were introduced to him in the first book, I was like, I don't like him. I don't trust him. Something about him seems off to me, I didn't like his vibes. And then when we got the Siljan Anist chapters, I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, okay, I like him a lot better and I can understand where he's coming from. And he's actually a precious baby that's billions of years old that's trying to do his best in life. Like,
I liked Hoa from whenever we met him. I did also think something was off about him, but I like that. But I think if we're only talking about this book, or are you talking about the whole series?
You can do either.
Okay, from this book, I really enjoyed the chapter in the Seal Anagist. I think it was like in the middle part of the book when they were we found out how it was run, I forget what kind of engine they called it. It had a name, but that engine,
atomic engine.
Yeah, that was like siphoning off. Like that was we'll talk about that in a minute. But that was how, when they talked about how that engine was run, I really was fascinated by that. I think I reread that little part a couple times, but just to try to like visualize. In my mind, it worked like one of those balls you put your hands on in the electric thing, like
like at the museums.
yeah,
Along with
like
the
that. It
science
makes your hair
museums.
stand up. That's kind of in my mind, sort of how the silver worked. In that engine, how I don't know. Or have y'all ever seen the Dark Crystal?
Yes. Yeah.
How they took the essence?
Yeah.
Sort of a mishmash of those in my mind is how I saw that working. And then for the whole book, I think the ending of the 5th season, and meeting Hoa was like it for me for the whole series. Like that was the best moment for me. Yeah.
I also
That
really
was
like the
wait to see how
reveal.
they're gonna interpret that in the whatever we're getting. I don't know if it's a.
I keep forgetting if it's a movie or if it's a show. I think it's a show, right?
I hope it's a show.
I hope so too. With like, I don't know, at least 10 episodes, but I liked more than that.
I feel like it's gonna be hard to make this work in 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, depends on how long the episodes are too.
I guess.
I feel like if
you
you
think
made
if
it
we do like a
1
2-hour
hour.
episode?
Oh, 2 hours. Okay.
I thought they did some where there's like an hour and a half on BBC for some of their shows.
Mm-hmm. I'd watch it. I don't care. It could be 3 hours. It does not matter. I will watch it. But I'm interested to see how they are gonna do that. Is it live action?
I assume so.
Okay. Because if it was animated, that would be freaking dope.
That would be dope.
But,
I feel like
it'd be nice if they mixed the two. Like if when they did the receptions, they switched like an animated frame or something. Like when they're like, oh, like I'm assessing this, and they like changed it like that.
Ooh.
I feel like animated shows for fantasy, like for book to TV or movie, is underrated. I don't know how many shows have actually done animated.
I don't think a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like adult animation in the US is just kind of stinky.
Yeah, it is.
While we're talking about that, can we just pray that they give it a good movie poster? Because while this is pretty, it would not, if I didn't know who she was and I was just bopping along in the bookstore, I would not pick this up necessarily.
Yeah. I'm also not even sure how these covers tied into like different parts of the book, you know? Like why do we have, you know, this gate thing, this doorway here, you know? Like for each, like piece of architecture on the covers, I'm not entirely sure like why it's there, you know, like what it has to do with whatever's in the book.
I don't get it. Like it's fine, but I think she deserves better, I guess I should say.
I'm scared for her. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I hope they do it justice, because she just, people who don't know anything about the books should still watch the show or whatever it's going to be, and I hope that the poster does that for them. You know.
I get nervous. Like, are you saying like an actual poster, or like, you know how like when it's a TV show they'll do like a book? Like they'll do like the picture with a new cover for the book.
Yeah, like I guess if it's a movie, they're gonna do whatever movie poster that they call it that's gonna be on the DVD or that's gonna be on the marquee. I want that to be, you know, fly and dope and fresh, you know. But like, it's just I want it to be better than this, because this is just not eye catching. Nobody
like when I look at this one, I keep wanting to call it the Obelisk Gate because to me it looks like a gate, but like obviously
it should be called the Amethyst Gate if you're gonna give it a purple and pink cover. Like
the color schemes don't really match.
It doesn't, because we talked about an onyx and none of these are really black, and there's the moon and none of them are gray, and just we talked about like they could have made this a whole geo with a black. Like there are who did they talk to for this? Is all I guess is the bottom line. I'm upset.
I don't know, because I feel like our other covers have looked more like I would guess, like based on the thing, like the Dreamglow duology. I look at them, I'm like, oh, the Killing Moon. Like I see a moon, I see like an eclipse. I really like the covers for the first editions of the Inheritance trilogy. Like you're like, oh, like this important building, this important piece of architecture, I see that on the cover.
Yeah.
I like know what that is now that I've read the book, but I'm still not really sure where the pictures for the covers came from.
I feel like if you know how they say don't judge a book by its cover, I completely disagree with that statement. Yeah. But like also like what you said about how like the covers don't match, because like when I picked up the 5th season for the first time, it was completely different than what I was expecting. Like it just blew my mind. Like based on the cover, you're not gonna get what you think you're gonna get.
I don't even know what you can anticipate getting from looking at that cover. Like it was sent to me, and that's the only reason why I ever picked it up, because for like, again, this is the same, it's like another pedestal on the same soapbox. Like I lived in a bookstore and I just never knew who she was. And it's because these covers are shitty for the quality. She's got a Hugo Award stamp on it that you can't get off. No shade, but like it's on there, so it should be better. She sent me this, and I read it, and just like I felt like, I don't know, my world got rocked. But to look at this cover, like literally, I would like to know whoever picked this up and was like, oh, this cover is fly, let me read it, without knowing who she was. You know what I'm saying? I would really like to know. If anybody in the chat just picked this up on a whim and decided this was what they wanted to know, I would like to know what made you pick it up. Because that's...
I'll get us caught up on the comments bubble here. Reveal at the end of Hoa's story on the origin of the Stone Eaters, Gardens, and Origins blew my mind. Yeah, I didn't realize that Hoa was the reason why they have seasons, or the first seasons. Junior Renee says Hoa was everything. Yes, Hoa has been narrating all 3 books, if I remember correctly. Junior Renee says, I love the way Hoa nurtured Essen. Shamla says, I really liked Essen and Yika's relationship and how it developed. Yeah, that changed a lot over the course of the books. Also, Gray Man being the other tuner too. Yeah, I forgot about that. He's one of the tuners as well. Gina Renee says, I need to go to Yika's Leadership Institute. She needs to teach some leadership seminars. Sci-fi elements are really cool. Yes, HR Wash is correct. Hoa is the narrator the entire time. All the Essen chapters are Hoa telling the Stone Eater Essen about her history.
That was so good. Time out. That plot reveal at the end of the 3rd book was amazing. I loved it. Incredible. Continue.
But no, I didn't realize until now that it was like for Stone Eater Essen.
You guys! Wait!
What?
Okay, wait.
I thought you just been like talking to her about like explaining why he was following her. I
realized
like, she was a Stone Eater and she needs to remember all this stuff.
Wait. Yo.
Yes.
Yo. Okay.
My mind was blown. Okay, because like after the 5th season, I was like, why is this in 2nd person? It's weird. And then it's revealed that Hoa is the reason why. I was like, okay, this plot twist is incredible. I'll accept 2nd person. I did not think it could get better than that. And then at the end, where he's talking to Stone Eater Essen, he's like, oh, this is why I'm telling you this story, and da-da-da. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yo, that's wild. Damn.
Yes. Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've been wondering, like, oh, who's it, Danelle Dolores? I was like, oh, why isn't, like, Danelle narrating some of it? Because she's the one who took this down, is going to be telling it to the world, and now we know why Hoa's been narrating the whole story.
Incredible.
Damn. I am shook. That's, wow. Okay.
So good.
Shaman says, I need a show because a movie won't do it justice, but I will watch whatever it is. Virginia Renee says, anyone have the original covers? I think these are the original covers. I think they just wouldn't have had the Hugo sticker on them, if I remember correctly. So I remember I was looking for other editions, and I don't think that the cover
changed.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a whole lot of redesigns. I keep complaining about how Subterranean Press released a very pricey edition of hardbacks that are limited edition run. There's no more. You can't get them unless you're going to pay like a bunch of money on eBay. Salma says she deserves much better. Special editions, hardcovers, everything. Most definitely. Yeah, publisher would make a killing on special editions.
Yeah.
And then reaching it, and I said that is what I meant by loving by Hoa nurtured Essen. He took his time with Essen, so she would be her full self. Yeah, their relationship really came full circle to him pretending to be a child to her.
Yeah,
basically being his child in some ways. Also,
I'm still sitting here trying to process that shit. That's crazy.
And so, like, wait, now that we know that like Hoa was a tuner as a kid. Was him being a kid again also like for him just to have fun? Like I thought he said it was like mostly for Essen so she would trust him, but now I'm wondering how much was because, you know, he was locked away and he never really could do much of anything except that like one time Kalonli took him out.
True.
Damn, I'm tripping. Wow. I'm just like, okay.
No, there's like layers that I'm like not even getting until reread. Like the first time I read it, I missed a lot of the stuff.
I should have reread this whole series before I started this because I think I read the 5th season in 2019. So this is your second or third time reading it?
I think the first time I read it was also in 2019.
This is your first time? Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
It's
also, it's been a while since I've read some of her other series, but like I don't know if they're as like layered in terms of reveals as like Broken Earth trilogy. Like I feel like this one comes with like reveal after reveal after reveal. Like there's like so many layers to it and understanding the plot and like why everyone's doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then she spent like a year just studying.
Yeah, she did.
Before she even wrote the book.
Rocks and like geology and stuff like that.
Her acknowledgments at the end was talking about her mother passed away or was in the process of passing away while she was writing this. And so she was like, if the pain is real, or you know, the love is real, and it comes through if you feel that in the book.
Yeah,
but like I can really like when I read the acknowledgments, I was like, oh, that makes sense, you know.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, I think in another live I'd done with it was like a solo live, but T Morgan who hops into like the comments and section and stuff and has been participating in the read along had said that like at this heart this story is like a family saga, and like I think that's true. Like I think magic and stuff is great, but I feel like at its heart it is really about like a family story and like the cycles throughout this family. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense that she talks about like her, I guess that her like actual family life has like fueled some parts of it. So we were kind of talking about Hoa and like Syl Anagist and stuff, and it's kind of throughout. It's been kind of teased like throughout. Like I feel like there's like really been a lot of like circular motion in the stories. In terms of like, you know, Hoa starting off this cataclysmic event starts the first season, and then Alabaster kind of starts another season, but it's also like the season to end all seasons. He's gonna end the cycle that Hoa started. And like with the history of like the Lorists and like how there are these other people before who have been kind of like killed out or like forgotten, who are remembered really through only like one or two traits and like how the Lorists dress. And so there's a lot I think about historical events being like remixed and retread and also forgotten. And I was wondering what you thought of that. Did you find the origin story satisfying when we finally understand why the stillness is the way it is? And also, did you have like a favorite connection that you made, like a favorite like cycle?
For me, it was satisfying. Because now, like, after having finished the whole thing, because to be honest, I spent the first 30% confused as to what exactly was going on, because it picked up right up. I mean, it picked right up from the Obelisk Gate.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when I read the Obelisk Gate. I didn't like it that much when I read it the first time. So I should reread that for sure now and give it another chance, because I think I gave it 3 stars.
Damn.
I know, but I still like it.
I'm sure people have given it lower, but I'm okay. So
Yeah.
I am of the unpopular opinion that the Obelisk Gate is my favorite in the series.
I feel like when I reread it, it will be. Yeah.
Like it.
Pretty much everyone else doesn't like it.
On reread, I think I'll probably give it higher, because now I'm going to be like, boop, boop, putting the threads together. But the first time around, I was kind of bored. If I'm just being quite honest, I was bored. But yeah, so the question was, the history and the origin story, was that satisfying, right?
Yeah.
So now that I know what was happening, it was Hoa talking to Stone Eater Esum. If you think about, like, if you think about somebody with memory care or with Alzheimer's, what you do is you tell them stories over and over and over from different perspectives to help them, or if they bring up something, you just go with it, wherever they start. So that, like, to do that is just like wild to me, that she was able to convey that the way that she did. Like, I just don't feel worthy to have read this book. Like, but I was really satisfied, saying all that to say. In a particular thread, no, I can't pick one out right now on my first read of it. I'm sure the next time I read it, yes, I'll be able to pick something up. But I can't say one right now. I'm sorry.
Personally, I did find that the origin story was fascinating, and like I liked how it came full circle, but I also found it interesting what Hoa said to Nasun towards the end, where in the future it might be Orogenes who become the oppressors because like the guardians don't exist. And now N.K. Jemisin has piqued my interest. I want that story now. Like I need it. And I just hope, another thing is, I just hope in my heart of hearts, a short story, a novella of Stone Eater Essun and Stone Eater Alabaster just coming together, and just because like they deserve happiness. That's all I want.
They do deserve.
Mm-hmm. And also, I don't blame you for giving the Obelisk Gate 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite either.
What did you give it when you read it?
I gave it a 4 stars though.
Okay.
Because like in my mind, the Obelisk Gate was the weakest out of the trilogy, but N.K. Jemisin's weakest is a lot of people's strongest.
Listen, let me just double check, because I might be slandering Sis, and she does not deserve. Let me just check what.
I'm not trying to make you change your rating. It's just I'm reminded that like it really is just me out here.
It's very I think it's because it's very slow. I mean, I think the other books are slow, but it also doesn't have like the major reveals that the other 2 books have.
Yeah.
Okay. In my defense, I gave it a 3.5, 3.75. So 4 stars on Goodreads. Okay. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite. The 5th season was like the quickest 5 stars I think I've ever given a book in my life. It was like, is that all? And let me hit it again.
Yeah.
It was good.
No, it's amazing how much she accomplishes, and like what is relatively little space. Like these books are under 400 pages. Like just
they're so little.
And the print's pretty big.
Yeah.
I think I thought the origin story was satisfying. It reminded me a lot of if anyone watches anime, NGE, Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I think for me, the most satisfying, or I guess the most interesting parallel was like what's happening with the Guardians and like what Father Earth did to the Guardians. Like, or I guess the conductors, because they weren't Guardians yet, but like, oh, you're trying to siphon my magic? You're going to have to live by siphoning magic forever. And you're going to be dependent on me. I thought that was like very cunning. I wasn't really sure why he turned the tuners into Stone Eaters. I might have to think about that some more. So I know he didn't like people. I think that's supposed to be like a lesser punishment, but I'm still not 100% on that.
I think he realized that they were victims of the same system. And so instead of just killing them all off, they're like, now you have to live forever. You're welcome.
Which is a good, I mean, a punishment for sure. And a choice.
I guess he just didn't have much sympathy for them. Shyamalan says, Jamison's world building, plotting, and characterizations and development is chef's kiss. Also the parallel that Nastin was staying in Alabaster's apartment and found his diary and read it and was able to learn more about her mother. So good.
Mm-hmm. It was just so much. It was just so much.
I actually really liked Alabaster's notes, like especially when they like started writing them like he would write them. Like remember when they're like, I want to jump into the hole, and then like it actually had like the letters going down into the picture.
Yeah.
I just felt like we really got to see more of Alabaster's personality. And I was like, yeah, I would believe that he would make a note like this. All his passages in parentheses and essence chapters are Ho's asides. Shyamalan says all the books have been 4 to 5 stars for her. Shyamalan has a question. Do you think that Antimony would do the same for Alabaster as Hoa did for Essen, meaning telling him his history? That's interesting, because Hoa mentioned at the end that like Antimony kind of rushed Alabaster. That's why we saw him so quick. And so he's going to have forgotten a whole lot more. So what do you think? Like, why do you think their relationship is that way?
I don't think so. Because, like, even with Hoa, even though he's like a stoic stone eater, you could tell that there's still some warmth to him, that he still cares. The vibe that I got from Antimony was completely cold shoulder. Like, she might have cared, but like I don't think she cared as much as Hoa did for Esun, if that makes sense.
So was Antimony in any of the? Did she go by a different name?
No, I think he always called her that.
Okay,
she was like the one who like showed up with Alabaster, like when he was in the hospital in Castrina.
No, I remember who she is. Just like in the Seal, Anagis.
She's one of the originals.
Oh, she was. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you remember which one she was? I remember Steelman was the one, Reiwa, I think, who disagreed with everybody and was kind of like a trouble starter.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, who was she in there?
I thought she was one of Ho's friends when they were tuners. Like, she was like one of the ones who's like a little bit more like chill.
I don't know if she would be as nurturing as Hoa, because she just didn't give any of that vibe in any of the time that we saw her. But I don't remember anybody other than Hoa being like cool in the Seal Anagis chapter. Yeah. So it didn't really matter at the end of the day. But I was just curious if we could remember who she was.
I just looked in the last chapter of the book. Her name was Gaywa. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Says page 310.
Thank you. Okay, that makes sense because they had a very contemptuous relationship. Hoa and Gaywa did in those chapters, or was it?
I thought it was him and
starts with the R.
I thought it was him and Reiwa, but it's been a little bit. So I don't remember if he like developed kind of more of an issue with Antimony after they became Stone Eaters.
That's interesting. I just wonder if she has a different way of being nurturing. You know what I'm saying? Like Hoa is kind of like matter of fact, you know, and so also sort of sweet. But there's different ways to be nurturing. So maybe yes, and just you know a different a different flavor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem.
He's always been kind of like sentimental. Like he seemed to be feeling like the most, or like showing his emotions the most when they were all tuners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Also, the times of Stone Eater could just change them because, like, right? Like they said, some of them, the original tuners, were still around, but they just didn't remember who they were anymore. So they didn't really know Willow or anybody.
Well, when we first meet, or when Alabaster first starts becoming Stone and Antimony, or how do you say it? Somebody say it for me.
I've been saying Antimony, but I
think it's Antimony. I think that's right.
I'm like, let my high school chemistry lessons. Hopefully it's in my head.
When we first meet her, she's very pushy about like trying to get Alabaster.
Yeah, not a lot of concern for anybody.
Yeah.
I don't think Hoa would have just dragged Essen away from her family like that.
Yeah. So I don't think so. I take my answer back. So no, she wouldn't be very as nurturing with Alabaster. Salter.
So we kind of talked a bit already about like the Stone Eaters and the Guardians' like existence as punishment. Who do you think got the better deal, honestly? Because I feel like I don't know if the Stone Eaters really got the better end either way. They both seem pretty bad to me.
Yeah.
The Guardians have the ability to die, though. Where like the Stone Eaters, they're just stuck like that. I know a Gray Man. He was so
upset.
Yeah, he was so miserable that he literally tried to get a child to end the world.
Like, also, he was salty.
But like also the Guardians go mad. So it's like you go mad either way. It's just do you want a slow burn or do you want to get there quicker?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to be able to, you know, press eject or are you just going to go the same speed forever?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I would rather have the choice to like burn out fast.
True. I mean, they had the one Guardian who I thought had the chip removed, and it seemed like she was happy at the end of her life. I don't know how happy the Stone Eaters ever really seem to be.
Right.
It seems like in Stronghold they don't even really talk to each other all that much. I don't know. Because it's not like they don't have passions. Like, it's really interesting watching their passions and just like how they move through the world. Like that one Stone Eater who was like, I guess basically like doing like landscaping, but like using himself as like a splint because he doesn't have anything else to do. Or like the person who's like fishing for that dolphin that they like. So it seems like they get attached to people, but it seems like their existence is pretty solitary and they don't seem to like each other.
Yeah. The one that was feeding the manatee at the same time every day.
Yeah. So sat there with the hand out and then fish. The Guardians. So I think there's some Guardians who were like the conductors initially, and then ever since then, I don't think it's all their descendants though, because I thought it was just like anyone. Okay, wait, I got this turned around, Shama. Okay, so the first Guardians were the conductors, and then after that, I think people are chosen to be a Guardian in the same way that like origins are taken to the fulcrum, right? Like if you are born, people know that your parents are origins, then they take you and you go to sit in the chair and you get the chip and you become a Guardian. That's what I thought, right? So I thought that was like a big dilemma with Alabaster and Essen when they were talking about having kids, and she was like, wouldn't it have been better if our children just weren't born origins? And he was like, but then they'd be Guardians, like way back when in the 5th season.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. I think the Guardians are in pretty constant pain. That's why they always are smiling, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a painful existence. And what did you think? Did anyone want to say anything else about the Guardians versus the Stone Eaters? Okay. What did you think of like Nassen's end the world plan? Then I'm gonna make everyone Stone Eaters plan. And like, what do you think of that argument between her and Steel?
Like, you could tell she was a child thinking, because like the only reason she wanted to end the world is because like, I've been hurt so many times. My dad just tried to kill me, so you know what? I'm gonna end the world. And then the only father figure she has is dying, so she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna turn everybody into Stone Eaters. You know, so like, it's very much based on the emotions of an 11-year-old, which I'm surprised that she actually went through and saved the world. And then her mom died or got turned into a Stone Eater, and then she was just like, you know what? I guess I'll save the world.
Yeah. I don't know. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like it felt very selfish and like childlike for her to decide, oh, I'm gonna save my dad this way. It was like, but you gonna just wreck the rest of the world to save just one person? Okay, sure, why not? Yeah, and I was also surprised that she was able to. Not that she was able to, but that she did go ahead and change her mind in the end.
Yeah, I feel like she flip-flops really fast. And I think that's one of the things that makes her like dangerous and frustrating as a character, is that she has so much power. So like, when she flip-flops, you know, we get these big consequences, like what was that, the Antarctic Node, where like all, you know, everyone's a Stone Eater now because, you know, Nassen feels a way about people that Chopper doesn't like, or like, oh, my dad's dying. Well, I guess everyone just has to be a Stone Eater now because I can't just turn my dad to a Stone Eater. So I've just decided that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And like, really, no one at the end, no one really could, you know, ultimately, like, I don't know if I would say check her, but like, I guess, yeah, no one really can check her because she's pretty much like the most powerful person on the planet. Like, her mom couldn't defeat her in orogeny. So I think that's also why I'm really interested in her. Like, it's very frustrating, but I think it also makes for a really good story. And I'm like, I don't know. I think that's why I like the Obelisk Gate, because we like look at that stuff. Like, Essen was never like that, right? Like, Essen was never like the best in anywhere she was. Like, she was at the Fulcrum and she was kind of mid-level. And then she was under Alabaster for so long, and like, really the only reason she surpassed Alabaster is because he died. So like, that's just never been her story. But like, Nassen's just like a natural, and she's like doing all this stuff, and like, it's just like wild also that it happens to her so young, right? Like, she peaks at like 12 and then she loses it all. I guess unless she wants to become a Stone Eater like her mom. So it's just wild to me.
And another thing, because like, Gray Man told her, like, he told her how miserable he was and how miserable it is to live for billions of years. And she was just like, nope, I don't care what's best for Shafa. I need my father figure. So I am going to turn everybody into stone, period, point blank. And I'm just like, baby, you can't keep doing this.
Yeah, I don't even know if it would have worked, right? Because they said like, it depends on how quick you're made. If you retain any of your memories, like, would she even remember Shafa when she's a Stone Eater? Would Shafa even remember her? Like, all this stuff, right? And like, even the ones that do remember each other, right? They're not like, she doesn't know this, but like, we know that they're not buddy-buddy. Like, Geiwa and Hoa weren't really friends with anybody.
Okay, what were they gonna eat if everybody was a Stone Eater?
True.
Do they need to eat though? On a regular?
I thought I don't know if they needed to, but didn't they feed off of?
I think some of them feed off of other Stone Eaters.
Oh, right. They're kind of cannibalistic, right? Like, they'll eat weaker.
Well, I guess it was gonna be, you know, Hunger Games or Battle Royale up in there. I guess once everybody's a Stone Eater, I guess.
Probably.
Like, She didn't think that through.
She didn't know I, knowing all this information and not wanting to be a stone eater, was like, Regina Renee says NASA was definitely 10 years old. Shamla says, still too blinded by her love for Shafa. I still side-eye that. No one liked Shafa. I think pretty much everyone was side-eyeing that.
It was trash.
Regina Renee says, traumatized child for real. Talk about an epic tantrum. Truly woke up and chose violence. Yeah. Nasson acts like a kid normally would. I hate when authors write kids as adults. Kids make rash decisions all the time. Yeah. Like, I thought she was very believable 12-year-old. I don't know. I don't know if this is you don't think she's a believable 12-year-old?
She's my least favorite character.
I mean, you don't have to like her.
Yeah, I'm not gonna come for you for saying that.
I think both these things can be true, right? That she's a believable child, and also like, I don't know, like I said, for me, what makes her frustrating is that she has so much power at such a young age, and like, it's kind of bad when that happens. But also, like, if we're being fair, I don't know if Essen was doing much better at her big age.
I love Demaya. I don't know what you're talking about, but Demaya as a baby, I wanted to protect her. Nasun, I found her irritating. But like, also, I'm not the biggest fan of kids in my books unless I'm reading a middle grade, because I feel like middle grade authors do a really good job with their kids. Other than that, I'm just like, children.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't know, because it's like a thing I think that I like is like kids navigating being put in situations that are like you normally wouldn't have a kid in. Like, I don't know. It's like a character thing that for whatever reason brings out a lot of emotions in me. Like, I remember I think Queen of the Conquered by Case and Calendar has sort of like a similar thing. And like that book really gets me in my feelings. Like, I can think of other short stories where that's like a thing that comes up where it's like, oh, I'm a child who like I'm dealing with stuff and really people should be able to help me, but like I'm just too powerful for anyone to really, I don't know, let me just like vent and like do child things. Like, I don't know, it's something I'm interested in.
I'm still here. I just need to turn this off for a second.
I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? I don't know. I think also like Essen and Demaya are obviously very different people. Or sorry, Demaya and Nasson. Like, Nasson acts like Essen, who's 40 years old, and like just doesn't have patience for much of anything.
Yeah, I guess.
I think Demaya reacted to things very differently. She like, I don't know. Again, just like Demaya just wasn't as powerful as Nasson is at her age. I think that changes a lot in terms of how she reacts to stuff.
True. And like, I don't know how I would feel like if I knew that like a person, like, I just don't understand. I understand why you know what I think it is? I think coupled with the fact that like her chapters are also Shafa chapters.
Yeah.
What I know about Shafa, I'm just like, this is icky. I don't like this.
I don't disagree.
No, I very much understand why people don't like NASA, and it's not even like she's like a person who I'd want to necessarily spend time with in real life. I just like her story a lot.
Yeah.
And I just want to be fair because like I feel like there's a lot of time in this book where like I make excuses for some characters just because I like them, and it's like it's not like Essen didn't like ice a whole comm because you know her kid was murdered and she just wasn't really feeling it.
So if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna go back to the show or movie that we're getting. Do you think that we may get more about Nassun's after the third part of the book? You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit further.
Oh, you think that maybe it would become less of an adaptation, more of like a continuation?
Yeah, like maybe, I don't know. If they get more than one season, I imagine one season per book. Maybe. I hope they don't try to mash the whole series into one limited what limited edition or whatever the hell they try to do.
Yeah,
because Jemison's writing it, correct?
Yeah, she's involved with the writing. I don't know if she's got. I mean, I would imagine she's got other people.
Yeah. I don't really know how like writing for film or TV works, but yeah.
Like, what's a series that was like 10 episodes? Like, it doesn't even have to be an adaptation, but something that covered a long period, like something this epic in only like 10 episodes.
Game of Thrones is the first one that comes to mind.
But that one had like what, 8 seasons or something?
Yeah. And the seasons surpassed the books too.
Yeah. So I can't think it like, I wonder if they're going to try to put it all on one show. You know what I'm saying? Like one go in case they don't get renewed if it's a show.
You think they, well, I don't want to say anything about it.
I think it's going to be one season per book, in my opinion.
Let's speak that into existence, because if they try to cram all of this into one season or one limited run or whatever, I'm going to be mad.
It's going to be really interesting watching them adapt this for TV, because like so much of the reveals in the first book are based on it being a book. Like I think if you watch that just like play out, you're going to be like, this isn't a reveal.
Right.
But like it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what choices they make. And like I have seen some adaptations that like go beyond the source material, but all that is like anime, and like the rules for that are very different from what Genesis is working with.
I'm scared. Okay. Part of me would like for them to go beyond the third book, and
especially if Jemison's writing it. I would
right.
Like another part of me is scared because like I don't want them to mess it up, because like my memories right now are very positive, you know. So like if they go and if they continue on past the third book and it's a miss, I'm gonna just pretend like that doesn't exist. I'm be like, I'm trying to erase it from my mind.
I don't know. I just wanted to go there and make y'all worry a little bit.
Going through the comments really quick. Didn't Nasson at the end turn part stone? Oh yeah, Nasson can't use orogeny not anymore. About Nasson, unbelievable for me, which is why I couldn't stand her. 2 years away from her mama, and she chose Shafa over Essen.
Yeah, that's not How did you forget all the previous years that you were alive?
I mean, because she was trying to run away even before.
Well, because her mom was kind of.
She's like, I'm going to go to the big city. I'm getting as far away from my mom in this place as possible.
That's right. Because
she wanted to be a lorist originally.
Yeah.
To get away from her mom.
She was trying to beat the raga out of her, I guess. Sort of, not beat it, but like try to teach her, and she didn't really understand why she was trying to make her suppress whatever. I think that's how my mind interpreted why she wanted to run away.
Here's my
seconds for Gina.
I can understand why Nassoon hated her mom in the beginning, because like the tactics were abusive, if we're being completely honest, you know what I'm saying? But like my thing is that like towards the Obelisk Gate and in this book, she understands why her mother made the decisions she did. It doesn't excuse the behavior by any means, but she also understands that her mom got those behaviors from Shafa. And so, like, you hate your mom, but you love this man. That's the reason why you have this cycle of abuse in the first place. But like, also, she's a child, so she might not even understand the mental gymnastics that she's doing.
Yeah, not yet. That's why I'd be interested to see what if they go a little further, if we maybe get a novella or something.
I mean, I feel like even if she was an adult, I wonder if she would have made similar decisions, just because like she has this like strong emotional like distance from her mom, and then like I don't know, I just kind of wonder how much this is just like based on like emotions, like, oh, I learned these new things about Shafa, but like my first impression was great. He's everything that I wanted, and so I just kind of don't care about this new information about Shafa, you know. I wonder how much it was just like that. Like, I picked my side, and that's where I'm staying. And like, you can make an argument why I should change sides, but it's just not happening.
And at the same time, her dad was trying to kill her. So
it's like
I guess.
Literally and physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nastin reminds me of all the black children / teens who don't get to enjoy their childhood. They're forced to make adult decisions, which isn't fair and out of their control. I understand the Fulcrum raised mom is not ideal, but sheesh, men / father figures getting a pass. Yeah. Yeah. This was my first read. Haven't noted any character arcs or themes yet. I think the first time around, I just like sat after I finished it, and I was like, my head's empty. I had nothing to say.
Same.
2 thumbs up. Yes. That is.
Just sat there this morning and just was like, what the hell what just happened?
Yeah. First read as well, but not finished. Oh, I'm glad this has been helpful for you, Regina Renee. In terms of show stuff, Game of Thrones covers a 300,000 word book per season until season 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andre says, Essen didn't know better. It's generational trauma. Yeah. Like her parents were crap. And then she was raised a certain way and she didn't really think much beyond that. And so she just did that. And it continued. What did you think about the argument between her and Steele? Like, we kind of touched on it, but like before, I didn't really know what to think about Steele. Like, I was like, oh, he's kind of devious. He's like sneaky. He's kind of conniving. Like, I don't really trust him. And then he had that argument with Nassim where he just kind of like yelled at her about how his existence is pain and he wants it to end. And it was interesting. I wasn't expecting him to be that genuine. And I also, I don't know if I felt kind of threatened by him for a little bit, or if like Nassim felt a little threatened by him for a little bit. Because I don't know if he's really tried to fight a Stone Eater yet. So that was like, I don't know. Like in my head, it's like Nassim's sitting there talking about her half-baked idea, and like Steele's really far away. The next thing she knows, Steele's like up in her face, like yelling, like, "Don't you dare do that! Don't you turn anyone into a Stone Eater!" So like I was like really taken aback by that scene because it seemed so out of character for him. I was just like wondering what you thought of that.
First of all, I was listening to the audiobook when that part came on and the narrator yelled and I was just like, oh my gosh, scared half out of me. But like also I sort of felt bad for him, to be honest, especially like towards the end where it's revealed that he's Rehua and he's been living for thousands and thousands of years and he's literally in so much pain that he just can't continue on. And then Nassim wanted to inflict that on Shafa. I'm just, okay.
I thought that was, so she's not fully, she knows that she's powerful, but she doesn't really understand all that it is. So she's not expecting him to be able to read her thoughts, sort of. And it's more like he feels those vibrations that she's putting out. I think that's how I kind of interpreted it. So I thought that was because I forgot who Steele was for most of the book. Like I don't remember if we knew anything about him prior to this book.
He like popped up like when Reninus like declared war on Castrema. He was the one who popped up and was like, "If you get rid of all your origins, we'll let you live." And so he kind of was like running errands for Reninus and like kind of heckling Castrema. Yeah. But like he wasn't doing a whole lot, you know. Okay. He was like showing up to NASA and being like, "Yeah, I have a plan. Yeah. I see you're real good with those obelisks. I might have a role for you." Okay. So he wasn't around a whole lot, honestly.
So I just thought that was. It was weird. and like she just put so much into the story and just lots of little moments like that where it's like, damn, okay. You know, sure. Tell me how you feel. Use your words.
Oops. I'm trying to multitask and it's not going well. Steele was a grown man dealing with a child who he wasn't going to cater to. I could dig it. And then anything else? Oh. The entire Broken Earth trilogy fits within the first 2 Game of Thrones books with room to spare to give us an idea of scope for the.
Yeah. Yeah, so they could. That's why I'm worried again. I'm worried because the thing with Game of Thrones is there's a whole bunch of different families and lots of different subplots. Not that the 5th season doesn't have a lot of different, little bits, but nowhere near as big. So I'm worried that they're going to try to put this whole series in a small.
Again, I think that's going to really kill it.
I don't think
it's fine with a book where you can kind of take your time with stuff, but I feel like if they try to cram in all these side characters and the side plots into like a movie, I think a lot of stuff is gonna feel rushed and it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah, and like there's like a lot of nuance in this series. I don't know about Game of Thrones, but this particular series has a lot of nuance, and I don't think it would be wise for them to cram it all. I also think at the end of the day, it's all about money. So like if they can stretch this out for as long as possible and get as much money out of it as possible, I feel like that's the option that they're gonna go with.
I don't disagree. Like, I don't know if people other than readers even know that this is a thing that's coming.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it, and if the Pandemic Lovato is still going on, I may not make it to a theater. I might buy a ticket online and just not go just to support, but like I don't see myself going to a movie theater anytime soon. So if it's a movie, it's gonna be an issue for me. Also, the casting is important. I don't know. I'm worried, but I'm gonna watch it regardless. If I gotta get a new streaming service or subscription, fine. I'll do the free trial the day before it comes out.
Do you guys know which? I hope Netflix doesn't go anywhere near it.
I don't think so.
I feel like we talked about this last time. I thought it was Sony who had.
Okay.
I thought it was too.
Okay then.
Pretty sure Sony.
I just don't want them going anywhere near this. I'm sorry. If they do, I'll just play it in the background. I won't watch it.
Why don't you want to watch it?
I'll just play it in the background to support. Boost up them numbers.
Oh man. I'm excited and nervous. Because there's a lot of things that they can do right.
Mm-hmm.
But, they could also really mess it up.
I want to know if they'll have like a narration, because you know how some TV shows and movies have like a narrator style.
Yeah.
You know, and because like the TV show, that's the book is second person, and then the show is also there's a narrator. So I'm just like, I wonder.
That makes sense, especially because the voice would change probably, right? Like Hoa's voice as like a little person, like a little like when he was pretending to be human, would probably sound a lot different from like him as a stone eater, like telling this to another stone eater.
Yeah.
So I think they could probably make it work if they did that route. I feel like I was looking up Broken Earth stuff. I feel like I should just know it now because I feel like I'm always consulting it during lives because it comes up a couple times. But it was Sony TriStar, and I'm pretty sure it's a movie deal.
So hopefully we get 3 movies out of it then.
I feel like that's what has to happen.
I think it'll be 4, because you know how movies nowadays love to split the final book in part 1.
So shouldn't we get 6, 2 per book?
It should be a TV show because there's just so much. You can't put all of this. You can't put all of book 1 into a 2-hour movie. You need at least an hour and a half, bare minimum 10 episodes.
Yeah, like, I mean, hey, maybe this won't be the only one, right? Like maybe we get the little movie as a teaser, and then we get a show as well, possibly. A couple different adaptations, maybe, because we've had how many of Lord of the Rings that are happened or in progress. Well, yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What was it? I had something I thought I was going to say. It left my head. I don't remember it. Oh. Shyamalan had a question about Steele. His plan was to use Essen at first, right? And then he found Nasson, and she was more easily manipulated. Yeah, I think his goal was to like heckle her when Reninus invaded and try to get her to do it, and then she just wasn't falling for it, so he went on to Nasson. Salter says, I hope the film version is longer than the audiobook series. How long is the audiobook series?
I think the Stone Sky was like 14 hours.
14.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Sean has a question. What did you think of Nasson and Essen's relationship? Does anyone want to take that first?
Not it.
So that was also kind of going to be your next question. Fine, I guess I can go.
Yeah.
I thought it was very sad. I thought the reveal at the Obelisk Gate was great because we spend so much time with Essen and rooting for Essen, and like we kind of have to face that, like she's like a flawed person, and that maybe you can't always root for her, or you have to root for her to do better. What else did I think of the relationship? I think I kind of wanted to. I feel like I didn't really understand Nasson that much. Like, yeah, because I felt like she didn't really have like any good memories of her mom. Like, I can't really remember her saying a good thing about Essen in the book. And so when she did finally decide that she was gonna do what her mom had wanted at the end, I was very surprised, and I was kind of like not sure why she made that decision. But by and large, I thought it was like very compelling relationship. Like, I think it was also sad because like Essen like is trying so hard to like look for her, and then realizing that like the person she's looking for doesn't want to be found. Has been wanting to get away from her. Yeah, so I just thought it was a very compelling relationship.
I feel like that entire relationship dynamic was completely toxic, Like Esun is that toxic mother, but like I was introduced to her in the first book, so I loved her so much. And then to figure out that like the person that I cared about so much is so deeply flawed and has passed on her trauma to her own child was devastating for me.
That was
like,
real.
And it's so crazy how love works in this book, because you can tell that Esun loves her daughter from the very beginning, like her children. Like she loves and adores her children, and she's been through so much. But the way that she showed her daughter love in wanting to protect her is now caused Nassun lifelong trauma. And unless she gets therapy, she's gonna have to deal with that for the rest of her life. I also thought like the part where they at like towards the end when they're battling it out, and then Esun realizes that if she continues to fight, her daughter will turn into stone. And then so like it says in the book where she looked up at Nassun and smiled, and then she cried, and then she basically sacrificed herself so that her daughter could live. It's like that was such a hard-hitting moment, even though you know that this dynamic is toxic. It's like so complicated. It's so complicated. Mm-hmm. You could write a dissertation on this relationship.
You could. I don't think that I really understood or had an opinion about their relationship until we started talking about it in the course of this live show. But I guess it makes sense that I'm being reminded of how Essen treated her when they were living as a unit, the four of them. I mean, it's been a while, so I just kind of forgot how she was treating her before they had to go their separate ways and she had to run. But I think that Nassun is a believable character, and I think Essen is a believable character for their individual selves, and so their relationship feels real to me. Even though I may not remember or understand all the particulars of how it got that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and also that moment in the end when Essen decides to sacrifice herself. I wasn't surprised that Nassun decided to do what she wanted. I just, because it's like, damn, what else can Essen get? Like she's dead. Like she finally got what she wanted after she has passed away. Or somebody finally gave her something nice, I guess. So that's just kind of how I took away from it, and I'm more curious of how Nessun will go forward with her life and how she will. I'm more curious. I'm very curious about how she'll go forward because I don't feel like I know her very well.
Yeah.
I don't think she knows herself very well yet. Either.
Yeah.
He has been doing a lot of people pleasing, like just trying to like basically squeak by and avoid people's notice.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the book would have changed if we had known, if we had been told this story from Nassen's perspective? Do you think we would feel as much for Essen as we do now? Like, how do you think that would have changed the story?
I do think it would drastically change it. I think because the story was told from Essen's perspective, I was able to sympathize a lot more with her. And I feel like if the story had been told from Nassun's perspective, I would have been able to sympathize a lot more with Nassun and her struggles.
Yeah. But, it would be wildly different because we would be getting it from a child's perspective. And whereas the way it was written, we're getting it from a million-year-old being, we found out. But, or a billion even, they have a way of putting things in perspective or just like, I don't know. It's different way of processing information and events that go on that I don't know if we would feel any empathy for a lot of the adult characters if we were getting the story from Nassun's point of view. It would probably change everything, and I wouldn't be mad if she wanted to write it. I'd buy it. Ugly cover and all.
Whoever is listening who works for N.K. Jemisin, we want more Broken Earth trilogy spin-offs. All the spin-offs. There's money to be had. Please write them. Regina Renee says, casting comment has me thinking specifically about Yika, Inan, and Tonki. I think we did like a fan cast in the Discord, and I don't know if we fan cast people for Yika and Tonki. I know some people had ones for Inan. Salter says, I don't think Essen did all that bad as a mother. It's like doing surgery on your child without pain meds. Gotta do what you gotta do. Just because the dad isn't a doc doesn't make the mom trash. Shamla says, interesting to me that Nassim could justify what Shafa and her father did to her, but cannot come to terms with her mother. But then again, abuse shouldn't be justified. Did Shafa do anything to Nassim? I mean, he told her that he would kill her, I think, at one point when they first met.
Not directly, indirectly through her mother. That's yeah. But that is true. Because like her dad actually tried to kill her.
Her dad did try to kill her. I'm trying to remember though what Shafa did.
And he killed her brother. That's weird. Because like her dad killed her brother too.
Yeah.
I think in terms of her relationship with Jija, I understand that a little bit more because she's like at his mercy. She like has to like keep him happy. And so I think in her head, it's like her mom's not there. She doesn't need her mom. It's like safe to like be very angry at her mom, but like she has to keep Jija on her good side. So like I think it's hard for her to just like be angry with him or like be frustrated with him because like she's always being watched. And like he's the one who's like looking out for her. Like if she doesn't have him, like she's probably not going to make it on her own. But I'm trying to remember what Shafa did to Nastin that she might take issue with. Like, because I remember, like, I read his stuff and I thought he was being weird. Like, I remember they were taking that train through the earth and she was, like, touching the glass, like, imagining if she could, like, move the magma and stuff they were seeing. And he was like, they call you monsters, but, like, something along the lines of, like, what a beautiful monster you are. And, like, actually called her a monster. And I was like... That's not a compliment, Shafa.
Weirdo behavior. Behavior.
Yikes.
I remember he did stuff like that, but I couldn't remember if he did any of the same things he did to her that he did to Essen. Like, even just as simple as being like, you can't tell me no. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Like, I'm trying to remember if he did any of that to Nastin, and I'm having trouble. Do either of you remember?
I don't remember, but I don't think so. But if you mess with my mama, you messing with me. So like pretty much that's all I needed. So
yeah.
Has anyone seen Coco?
What?
Coco, the
Oh yeah.
I was so upset when Coco went looking for his dad. So I was like, the one who ran away?
Yeah.
The one your grandma cries about every day because she can't remember him anymore? That one?
Yeah.
I don't really understand this either, but like I'm trying to piece it together.
Yeah.
I don't think Shafa was like outwardly, but I think he was more passive in his treatment towards her. So like I think because Nassun is so used to like blatant disrespect and abuse that like when Shafa was just like that little comment where it's like monster, like if somebody called me a monster at my grown age, I'd be like, you know what, trash. Okay. But like for a child who feels no love, I guess it was just like it went over her head, if that makes sense, you know?
So I thought he did something to her when they first met. I remember it was before he had like really committed to like I'm not, like it was like when he had like just lost his memory. He was just like corrupted and turning his back on Father Earth. And so he was kind of like still in the pattern of his old behavior. And like he found her, and I think he was like considering whether or not to kill her, I thought. And I thought there was a moment where she was like, well, if that's what you think is best, then I guess that's what's best. And she didn't fight it. And for some reason, like that won him over. I think this was back in Obelisk Gate, though. Am I making this up? Does anyone remember this?
Was it the silver where Nassun was like, oh, you need the silver to survive? And then he's like, oh, I can't take too much because it'll kill you. And then Nassun was like, it's fine.
I think it was even before that. Like I think it was around the time that they first met, I thought. But I might be I don't remember a chapter off the top of my head, but like I thought that there were like, even though it like wasn't as bad as what he did to Demaya, I thought there were kind of like signs that like the way he was treating Nassun was a little like still iffy. But if no one else remembers it, maybe I'm just thinking of some other character that he talked to. I remember it was like a turning point that it was very important that the person didn't say no to him, because it hadn't been Demaya because he didn't break the person's hand. And I don't think it was like any of the kids he picked up for founding Moon. Because I remember, because I don't think it was that, but I might just be making stuff up. Like I thought there was a time where he did kind of threaten Essen, and then there was something that she did where like he didn't do it ever again. And I thought he was talking about like what also he was like trained to do and like how the other guardians were operating as well. But
I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. I might just be making this all up. We'll switch to
probably not. You probably painted something in your memory.
Yeah. Regina Renee says mother-daughter relationships are so complicated and portrayed so well. The complexity of the love and loss of children historically all shows up in this relationship on the page. Definitely. Essen did what she did because she wanted Nassun to survive, but also Essen could have communicated better by telling Nassun the truth. If it was from Nassen's perspective, probably not. Wouldn't sympathize with Essen. This is what I've been asking for, the Pirate Crew spinoff.
Not Santa Daddy.
I know it was Salter who made this joke, but I forget why. We're talking about Anon, and he was like, Anon would make a great mall Santa, and so that's why Anon is Santa Daddy, but I'm still definitely getting that. I've been like fingers crossed that we get like a novella about their time in Neov, the 5 seconds when Essen was just like completely wholeheartely happy, but
yeah. Man, that was 5 seconds for real.
It was short.
It was so
on reread, I was like, oh my goodness, that was no time at all.
And then the fall, the immediate storm after that was so big and devastating. It was like, damn, terrible.
H.R. Walsh brought up that there is a short story called Stone Hunger in the How Long Till Black Futures Month collection.
Let me pull that out right now.
Sorry?
Let me pull that out right now so I can tab it.
Okay. I think it was, I think she wrote it, like, I think in the collection she says that she kind of writes those short stories sometimes as, like, tester concepts for, like, the novels that she writes. Like, there was a book in there that was kind of like the tester concept for the Dreamblood duology, too. Oh. And Stone Hunger was kind of the, it was called The Narcomancer something or other. I forget the full title.
Yeah.
But Stone Hunger, that was interesting. Because because the powers of the origins are a lot different. And it's just interesting to see, like, and I think also Yika's in that one. But it's interesting to see, like, what elements she decided to keep and what elements changed. And also, like, I think I read Broken Earth first, and then I read that short story, and I felt like there's, like, a really big difference between them. But, like, having read the Broken Earth again and having read that short story again, I kind of see some shared elements. Like, in Stone Hunger, when they use orogeny, there's a lot of focus on, like, taste and, like, how things taste. And I felt like in the book, it was more, like, feeling like vibrations and stuff like that, but like sometimes when they like encounter something like very strong or very powerful or like kind of beyond how they've been taught to think about in the fulcrum, they do still like have these other sensory experiences with like bile in the back of their throat or like taste sense things. So like that was cool that it carried over.
I know she had one for also The City We Became.
Yes, that's true. H.R. Walsh said it was called The Narcomancer.
Sophia, did you read The City We Became?
Not yet. I wanted to finish this trilogy before.
Okay. So if you get the City We Became book, the short story is actually like the prologue or like the first chapter. So you don't have to go out of your way to find it.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. Okay, it's not just me. That whole thing I was spinning about, that yarn I was spinning about Shafa, Salter says it sounds vaguely familiar, and H.R. Walsh says they think that did happen in Obelisk. So it's not just me. I'm not completely making things up here. So I think we talked about a lot of stuff, the specifics. What did you think, like, as a whole, like you read the book looking back, how did you think this worked as like a concluding book in a trilogy? What was your favorite book in the series? What were your thoughts on like the overall Broken Earth experience?
Woo.
For me, in terms of favorites, I would say The Stone Sky might actually be my new favorites.
Yeah.
And then the 5th season, and then the Obelisk Gates. In terms of, I thought that the ending was really good. It was bittersweet. It made me emotional. I love it when series finales make me emotional. But like it also left me wanting more, but like in a good way, know? The way everything came full circle with like how the Orogenes and the Guardians and the Stone Eaters, how like they came to be, and how Homa was talking to Stone Eater Esu this entire time. It was just perfection in my mind.
Child, I think I was telling you, I don't know what to give this, but like after we've talked, I still don't know what I want to give this, but I feel the same emotional, like, mind blownness as I did when I read the 5th season. So I can't necessarily put this over the 5th season. I can't really put it under. It's like the 5th season's here. Like, it's overlapping a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to give this. I know I gave the 5th season 5 stars, but I don't know. I'm probably going to give this one 5 stars at the end of the day because I'm just so. I want to immediately reread it. Actually, I want to reread the Obelisk Gate and then read like tonight. But I'm not. It's really good. As a conclusion, like you said, it left me wanting more. It didn't really give me more questions except for like what would happen later, and like if we checked in 10 years or say 50 years or whatever. Because it seemed like these people aged more slowly than like what we do now. So
do you mind explaining what you mean by that?
Like, I don't know. I guess time was it passed weird. So like we understand that the Earth moves around the sun, and once we get back to a certain position, that's been a year of time. So like we don't really know how time passes because the seasons are how they kind of
okay. Yeah, those are like their major
yeah. So like she's 10 or 12 years old, but like really she might be like 30 or you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. So time was weird. Now that the moon is back in place, maybe time would be more regular, I guess is a better way because there's no more seasons. So I don't know. That's the only thing that I still have a question about, but it just made me want more in a good way though. Like I didn't feel like she left anything untouched. Or that I was wondering, I wanted for her to go more into depth with. She didn't leave me hanging on anything. So I think it was a really good concluding book, but I still would love more. Like I would even be interested with going and learning more about Tonki. I would love to know more about is it Yika? Is that how you pronounce that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like other origins or like even a year in the fulcrum or whatever, you know, like a class, however they went through. Like, I would love to just know how that was. I know it's terrible, but I would love to like get a little bit more about that. So yeah, I think it worked really well as a concluding book. And so to rank it, it's 5th season and the Stone Sky, right? They're like right there, and then the Obelisk Gates.
So I think this is I think I waffled on some of my ratings. Like in my head, I thought I gave this 4 stars, and then I was like, that is a crime. Let me go back and change my rating to 5 stars. But then I looked at my Goodreads and I had given it 5 stars. So I think it's something I flip-flopped on. But I think as a concluding book, a lot of stuff just like pays off. Like I remember in the first book, someone had been asking in the Discord if we were going to learn more about the Guardians, and I was like, I honestly don't remember much about the Guardians. Like I know we get more of an Obelisk Escape. I don't remember how much, and like we got like payoff. I felt like for like every single like little plot line that came up, I felt like it came back. I mean, this wasn't a happy series. I wasn't expecting to finish this series and feel triumphant or like one way. I feel like it like resolved like some of like the surface level complex stuff, but still left me with a lot to sit with and think about and like still like work through. And I think my big takeaway from the series on like a second read is like really like the circular stuff. Like I'm thinking about how much this new civilization, like the Sansa civilization, how many of the mistakes of like the like Tuna era they repeated just because like they don't pay attention to history, they destroy history, they don't want it widely known, and like how important like memory is and like paying attention, noticing patterns is to like stopping stuff like that and like creating a better world ultimately. So I think that was like my big takeaway on this read. So I still do like the Obelisk Gate.
You like it more than the Stone Sky?
I have to think about that. It's hard for me to pick. Like my gut instinct is to be like Obelisk Gate, Stone Sky, 5th season.
Okay.
Blasphemy, I know.
Not blasphemy, but it's surprising. I'm surprised.
I don't know what it is. So I think like reading wise, like 5th season was like fun to like get the pace of the world and like set the tone for a lot of stuff, right? Because like a lot of the stuff, I think the Still Anja stuff really would not make much sense to a reader if we hadn't already known about like the fulcrum and how they do business. Like I think a lot of this stuff, like there's only like 5 chapters about Still Anja, but like everything comes together because we've seen these patterns and these characters before. So I think 5th season does a really good job of like laying the groundwork. But I think it was like a slower read for me. Like I remember for like a 2-hour sprint, I really wasn't finishing the chapters. Like I would need more time. And then around the Obelisk Gate was when it was like I was consistently finishing the assigned chapters within the 2 hours. And also really my favorite thing about the 5th season is Meow, and that's really short. So there's that. So like it laid the foundations of like everything that's like brought up later in the series. But I think really the big thing for me is like Nas and Essen's relationship is really what I love about this series. And so like when that's introduced and like the shock of that is like really big for me. So that's why the Obelisk Gate is so high. And then the Stone Sky, I'm liking more on reread, especially after H.R. Wash's explanation about why Ho was the one narrating. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that gut ranking I did.
All right.
It's fine. I'm
only judging you a little bit. Just a little.
Huh?
I'm only judging you a little bit. Just a tiny.
I'm trying to think what else. Okay. And I think I said everything I wanted to say for this question. I'm going to circle back through the comments. Sorry. I fiddle with stuff that's on this desk. That's why I randomly had the scissors. Gina Renee says, City We Became was my first N.K. Jemisin. I think that's a good starting point, especially for people who are like wary of fantasy or sci-fi. That's like usually the one I rec because it's set in New York. It's much closer to our world. I think it's also a lot looser. Like there's not as many like new terms to use. And like I think there's a lot less like systems to keep track of. Like this book you kind of have to keep track of orogeny. The other ones have like magic systems and like politics to keep track of. And I think The City We Became is a little easier, but also it's the first in a series. So maybe some other book will come out and I'll have to change my opinion on if it's a easier entry for people who don't like fantasy. Or who aren't.
Let's say there's a villain in The City We Became that reminded me of Antimony.
Oh, really?
I don't know. And this was because I read The City We Became when it came out. And I think I had already read The Obelisk Gate by the time The City We Became came out. So I think I read them around the same time as well. So it was fresh on my mind. But I'm just saying that. That's all I'm gonna say. I really love The City We Became. It was really good for me. But I think that's a good starting point too, because a lot of people worry with with reading Jemison that or a lot of people are intimidated by, because we stand it whenever we're talking about her books. We're like the genius, but and it's really it's accessible writing. I think it's just very it's complex, but also easy to understand once you talk about it with people.
Yeah.
But The City We Became is not so high fantasy that, like, if you want to start with her, I think that's a good one. Or her I don't even know if it's considered a novella, The Emergency Skin.
Oh yeah, I think that's a novella.
It's like 30 something pages.
Oh, that's it. So maybe it's. I don't know the
I don't know what the designation is, but I would also recommend starting with that one. But everybody here has read this series, but I'm just saying, it's somebody else.
Yeah, I was asking for X. What was that? Actually, the villain in The City We Became really made me think of. Have you read How Long Till Black Futures Month?
Not all of it, no.
Have you read Red Dirt Witch?
Let me see.
That's the one set in like pre-civil rights era.
Yes, I have.
She reminds me of, who is it? The woman in white, or like,
yes,
never the villain of that one. That's what she made me think of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Andre says, in my honest opinion, City Born Great as a short story is better than the one edited for the novel. Okay, I didn't know that the story was edited for the novel. Shama says 100-star book series, amazing. Favorite book is the 5th season, and I thought the ending was bittersweet. Jemison stuck the landing. 5th season was my favorite before, but the Stone Sky wraps up so well that it's my favorite now. All book 3 books are 5 stars for me. I was not feeling the Shafa/Nassen parts of this book at all. I wanted that to be over and get back to Syl Anagist and Castrima Journey plot lines. Yeah, what do you want to, since you weren't here for like the 5th season books, we've established that no one likes Shafa, so people generally don't like the Obelisk Gate. But when was the 5th season? Who was your favorite narrator?
Trying to remember.
Maya, Cyanite, and Essen.
So that's something I wanted to ask y'all, because I don't remember how we got. I mean, I know it was revealed at the end of the 5th season that they were all 3
the same person.
But I don't remember what was special about Cyanite. Wasn't she a breeder?
She was in the fulcrum, so like she was being like pretty much like set up with people to have kids with. But she was like a fulcrum origin. And she was like training him, working her way up the ranks.
So she was doing both? She had 2 jobs?
I think everyone in the fulcrum has to do both.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, I think like you can like rank out of it eventually, but everyone starting out does both.
I remember liking her when her and Alabaster started to get along, that part of the 5th season. And so that was probably my favorite part of, other than her 5 seconds of happiness of the 5th season. And then I liked Hor from the very introduction of him, and I liked Tonki. Even though she got on my nerves, I think she's a good person to have on your apocalypse team. And because she can rig some shit, she's gonna help you survive wherever environment you're in. She's gonna be able to find some water or figure out how to grow some things. Or she's a she's a clutch player. I was gonna say a shortstop or a Swiss Army knife, but she was a good person to have on your team because she had a lot of different skills. And who else? I mean, other than the low-hanging fruit of Shafa, I didn't necessarily dislike anybody else that really comes to mind right away. Antimony was like, girls, chill. Like, Alabaster's like, his arms are already stone. Like, it's okay. You're gonna be able to bring him in just a minute. Like, chill. But I didn't dislike her per se. So
she took Alabaster away from them. They could have survived if Alabaster was still there. Could have taken the entire family.
Child. I just that part. And I was wondering, how did y'all picture the Kastrima under? I'm sure you talked about it in your live stream, but like, how was that structured? Was because I couldn't visualize it. I didn't have.
So I think they had like that, like abandoned building on top with like I think they said like a trap door that they'd go down into it. Yeah. And then it was like all geodes on the inside. So it all was like sparkly gem stuff. And they had like platforms and they had like pulley systems for like moving stuff around. And I think there were like railings in some places.
So it's like a cave with all these different pods.
Yeah. And very nice on the ground.
And then but how did they get light?
I thought the crystals glowed like it was powered by people's orogeny. So just by having all those origins in Kastrima, people were able to get around.
Gotcha. Yeah, the second time I read this is going to be a wonderful time. I can just, that was good.
So, like, I think Sophia Demaya was your favorite narrator in the 5th season. What was your favorite, like, portions for this book? Like, we know that no one likes Asin, but I guess between Hoa and Essen, whose chapters were your favorite?
So Anagist. Those were the best chapters. Cause like it was just so fascinating to see baby Hoa. And I really liked how it came full circle with it. And like how the chapters went like from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Yeah, so good. So good.
It was so good. I agree.
And they were scared of my baby Hoa. They were scared of him. Oh.
Yeah. Well, he was weird. Like he had a look when we first met him, and like when we first get to Kastrima, it was like what?
I didn't like when we first showed up. I was like,
when he first showed up, I didn't like him either.
Yeah, I was like, he's a stone eater. Like the little excerpt says he's a stone eater, so I don't like him. I don't trust him. What's he doing here? I'm trying to be a person.
Listen, I don't know. It was something about it. I'm attracted to the weird. Okay, so it was just something about him that I was like, I like him. But he was odd, and he moved weird. He stared. He didn't blink or something.
Yeah. When he was a tuner, or just when he was
it was just the way he when he was trying to look human. It was just the way that he walked and stuff that. He wasn't pulling it off, but we still liked him.
And
I did.
What was I gonna say? I think in this book, the Essen chapters for me were just okay. Like it felt like she was just basically killing time until she could leave the Kastrima people and get to Stronghold and play with the Obelisk. So I wasn't big on her chapters. I don't know whose I liked more between Hoa's and Nassen's, because with Hoa, we get to learn about the civilization, but with Nassen, I felt like we got some fun archaeological stuff, like when they're trying to piece together where are we, we're finally interacting with this dead civ, what does everything do? So I like that, and I like that we actually got to see Father Earth and stuff. So I'm not sure whose chapters were my favorite, because the Father Earth intro was great. It was fantastic. I loved it.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
I feel like when in the movie it's gonna be from what was it, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when they go down that tunnel. I feel like when they look at Father Earth in the movie, it's gonna be like that.
Let's think about the Magic School Bus episode when they go to the center of the earth, but make it CGI.
I don't remember that one. I just remember the one where they went to Mars or the moon, and was it Arnold takes off his helmet and he gets a cold?
Yeah.
I like that just bringing back the moon isn't going to fix everything. The seasons will stop, but they still have to deal with the aftermaths. Yeah, and it seems like Essen says that she wants to be pretty involved with that, right?
Yeah.
She's I'm just looking for the final chapter. Okay. Okay. So she's talking to Ho about the state of the world, and he says, "Then let's go make it better. You look amused. It's you. It's truly you. Just like that? It might take some time. I don't think I'm very patient, but you take my hand. Don't be patient. Don't ever be. This is the way a new world begins. Neither am I say, so let's get to it." So, like, it sounds like they're both going to be pretty involved in, like, shaping what this new world is going to look like. Which will be interesting, because I think Stone Eaters have kind of avoided people for the most part. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways this could go. If there's ever a spinoff or a continuation. So I'm looking for the comments. Salter says, the third book was my least favorite because I felt like it was stick the landing or nothing for me. Didn't like that feeling. Worried for readers who are scared of having their time wasted. Yeah, I think it's like tense when you're like, it's been so good, it's been so good, it's been so good. And you're like, get to the last one and it's like, but will this one be good?
I was nervous to finish it. Like, I think I left that last 75 pages for a whole week. Like, I ate it, and I was like, I can't. I'm scared.
Same. I was nervous that she wasn't gonna stick it.
I guess this is for you as readers. Are you like the type of readers where it's like the ending is like the most important part for you, or is it kind of like the friends and the reading that happened along the way is like equal to, if not more important than that?
For fantasy, I need the ending to be satisfying. That can mean a lot of different things, but I need it to be satisfying. And it's not about the journey if the ending sucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I feel the same way.
For fantasy now, contemporary or like historical fiction or whatever, it can be about the journey. And I haven't really read a series in any other genre where, you know, the ending was like make or break the whole thing. But it could be about the journey for anything except for even sci-fi. I need the ending to sci-fi series. I need the ending to, slap.
Okay. I don't know. I think like it's good to have a good ending, but like for me, it's like, I don't know. So I'm trying to think of like a book where I'm like, I really enjoyed it up until the end, and then I was still fine with it. Because like for me, I feel like I know pretty early on when like it's not for me.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I kind of get like checked out, and like I've read books where it was like really good, and then I got to the ending, and like maybe a few things were open, or like maybe, I don't know, it didn't have like as big as an emotional impact as I wanted, but it still felt like closed in some way. So I don't know.
I can't think of anything yet.
So maybe I'm lying. Maybe it is about the ending. Andre says 5th season is like a marvel of structure and voice. Obelisk Gate misses the second book slump by all the emotion labor it did. Yeah, it has a lot of setup to get done in terms of like, the main conflict between Acid and Essen is all introduced in that second book. So it has a lot to cover. Yeah, I favor the second because it propelled forward without any sagging. Would you look at that? Wow.
Finally. Y'all need to get some t-shirts.
True, all 3 of them are good. A very diplomatic answer, Shamla. And KJ did her damn thing with this series. Every book had so much amazing work done in it. I can see how Antimony is like the villain in the city we became.
Just a little, I don't know. That's just
Andre says she was trafficked. I think this was about cyanide. Because like she didn't really have any say in it. Oh. I saw Catch Stream Under as that crystal cave from Avatar The Last Airbender, the season 2 finale. Was that the one? That wasn't the secret tunnel, or was it?
I just watched that for the first time last year, so I need to go.
I don't think it's the secret tunnel. I know what it is, but I'm trying to remember why they were there.
Yeah.
Help me out, Sophia. I thought you watched it too.
I completely forgot everything I saw.
Okay. Never mind. Salter says, I need the payoffs to reward us for the journey, and the ending needs to be stuck. And Shyamalan agrees, for fantasy, the ending has to be satisfying. So those are all the comments for now. I didn't have any more questions planned. Was there anything you wanted to discuss that you felt like we didn't get to?
No.
I don't have any questions.
I asked my questions about how y'all thought Castrima under. Like, that whole scene when we got to get to Castrima, was that in the Obelisk Gate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was just a lot of
the 5th season, right? Because she meets Alabaster at the end of the 5th season, and he was in the Castrima hospital.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's like halfway, no?
Halfway to 2/3, maybe? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, forget. I thought that was cool how that was set up. Whichever book that was in when she's on her, I forget what she's trying to get to her daughter. And so they try to get some what am I trying to say? They're trying to scavenge for supplies. And they come up on the I guess you would call it a trap house, essentially. And so they go, or I think Tonki is like stalking her, following her at this point, right?
Yeah, Tonki's with the group.
Yeah, and Hoa's already with her, I think. That whole thing, I love that part of the Obelisk Gate. That probably is what saved that book for me personally, that once we got to that point in the story and beyond, I started to enjoy it. It wasn't a bad book. I don't want to come off like I thought it was a bad book. It was not my favorite of the 3.
Deidre says she hates the Obelisk Gate. 1 star.
I did not
0 if she could. So basically, Essen's perspective. Well, we went over this. We talked about our favorite narrators. Everyone's favorite perspective was Essen, except for me, the Obelisk Gate.
I wonder if she wanted that to be the case, but
I don't know. I mean, Essen was also the main, that was where the main conflict was happening, I think.
Yeah.
Like, Masson was kind of doing some self-exploration type stuff, and it was kind of building for her to make her decision about what she was going to do with the obelisks. But Essen was the one where she was facing immediate danger with the boil bugs and possibly starving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, that was everything I had to say. Final call. If anyone had anything to say in the comments before we log off, I'll give it a second. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so I think we're good to go. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Sophia. Oh, thanks, Salter.
Yes. Thank you for doing it, by the way, Chloe.
Yeah.
I probably would have never read the Stone Sky. I would just be like, it was a good series.
Same.
Someone had a question. That was one I meant to click. Maybe that was something I was going to ask. So this book is very serious. There's a lot of drama, but I think it's also kind of funny in some places in really weird ways. Did you have a moment where you were like, this kind of made me laugh, or I wasn't expecting this to be so funny?
Yeah, agreed. It's very random moments where I was like, really?
I feel like I said it already, maybe, but when they're on the road and they meet that wandering couple. And she's like, that guy's gonna have to eat some more food if he's gonna keep all these women happy and satisfied.
Yeah.
This is just so dry and so judgy. But I asked that question because Shyamalan said the way Jemison mentions that they have to be cannibals during a season and brushes over it when they're actually eating the meat of the people made me laugh. What was it? I remember some of the chapter titles were kind of funny. Like I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to them, but I remember there was like one chapter, I think in the Obelisk Gate, that was called Nassen Busts Move. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
like
little moments like
Jemisin's
that.
humor. She's funny.
Or like, what was it? I think it was in the 5th season. It was like the band is not getting back together.
Man, she's funny. I just like her humor.
Yeah. I think I was in the Discord. I was in the Discord. I have the attention span of a goldfish sometime. So I was was in the Discord because I made an exit survey for people who did the read along. If you're in the Discord, you could just leave a comment saying, you know, what you liked, what you thought could be better, and like if you're interested in doing another read along, what you'd want to read. I also have a form you can fill out on my Google Forms that I left in the live comments on the side. You can fill out. I'll probably throw it in the description box of the video. That'll just be like helpful for me for like reflecting and like, because I do want to do more read-alongs, but like trying to figure out, you know, what worked for people, what didn't work for people, stuff like that. Another comment. Regina Renee says, I already mentioned this, but as someone not trying to have any menopause babies, I feel lots at Essen talking about middle age and starvation and not being adequate birth control. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
But you know what? When you think about apocalypse,
who was gonna have? Well, I guess Lerna is the doctor. He should have had condoms with him.
Okay, but you think like outside of this series, you just think about apocalypse. Like for one, ain't nobody taking showers. Why are we doing it? For two, like, were you like a crying baby while you trying to run for your life? You know, it's just not. Y'all gonna have to think about it at all times. You gotta think about it.
But I feel like you just have to tune that stuff out. I feel like that's what you have to get good at. Because like,
right?
Can't hear it. I can't smell it. We're just
no. Maybe in apocalypse, you know, one of the graces that you get is that your nose hairs just get burnt right the fuck off right when it starts. It's gone. It's nothing matters. Oh man.
Shamus says Alabaster is also funny. I forgot about
Alabaster was my fave.
He had a dry, cutting sense of humor. I remember one of my would you rather questions was, would you rather, like during a live, would you rather give Alabaster bad service in a restaurant or give Essen bad service in a restaurant? I feel like someone said broken bones will heal, but words can hurt you forever.
Right?
I think it was Sherry of Obsidian Text Intentions who said that. Alabaster has a cutting wit.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I missed was here. Thought I saw someone had a question for me.
Oh, they said what's next?
What's next? So I'm gonna wait to see what other read-alongs people want to do, but like right now in the polls, it seems like people are very interested in sticking with N.K. Jemisin and possibly doing the Inheritance trilogy. So I think that's like the main one I'm considering right now. But you know, I'm a slow planner, and it's kind of year's kind of winding down for me. I have a readathon, the Black Evathon, that I'm planning to host in October. This will be the 2nd year, so like, and I usually take December off because I like to take a break. So if anything happens, it won't be till next year, but like you would see the announcement on my channel. I would probably put it in the Discord as well, because there have been people who've been interested in reading more read-along stuff. And also if it was the Jemisin thing, like, you know, the fan base is there. So that was everything. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Sophia. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'm going to do a reflection video at some point. I like to do reflection videos when I host an event. Just kind of gives me a chance to like think about what worked, what could be better, and just like share that with other people who might be considering hosting stuff or who might not feel comfortable asking people for advice. And it also gives me a chance to test the waters to see what people are interested in seeing, and mostly holds me accountable. Like only reason I'm kind of sticking to some of my goals are because I said I'd do it in a video, and so now people are like, well, when's it coming? And I'm like,
well,
soon. Just wait. So yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good one. Goodbye. Oh.